If you're using anything other than a professional photographer, if you're not one, you should stop. All right, y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad Allen, and today we're diving into helping you sell listings. And one of the major things that I think gets looked over is the photography. Like I like to tell my sellers, buyers are buying the photos first. If they like the photos, they come inside because they looked and their search brought your house back because of the price, the location, and all the details. And now if they pull up the photos and look through it and it doesn't match what they're looking for, if it looks cluttered, it looks bad, it's bad photography, they are going to pass it over. So agents, what I want to instill upon you today is there are things that you can do to help your seller get the house ready for the market. And a lot of that is getting the house ready for photography. Now, I say this with the utmost humility that I am a professional photographer when it comes to houses. I have shot over thousands of houses over the last 20 years of my career. So not only have I listed and helped sell thousands, I've also shot most of them. And so I've got a good insight of actually how to execute, but also I've got a lot of tips and tricks that can help you help your clients. So first, you have two options for getting the house ready for market. Now, if you're like us, we offer 2 hours of the stager at our cost to meet with the sellers. Why? Because it takes a lot of time to go meet with sellers. The stagers, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. Why not let them go do it and let the seller talk to them? But you may not have the money or the connections or the time, or maybe you have a lot of time and you actually like staging and that's your thing. Well, go do it. So here's what I would recommend you do to help your sellers prepare the house for the market. First, get your sellers, walk out on the front stoop, whatever that is, front porch, front stoop, grass, whatever, and start a clock and say, for the next 45 seconds, I want you to look around and see anything that turns you off or catches your eye when it comes to the front door. The reason it's 45 seconds, that's typically the length of time it's gonna take me to open the lockbox, so the buyers are gonna be looking around trying to figure out what's going on. Most of the time, it comes down to simple things. Make sure the front door has a fresh coat of paint on it and that it's glistening and cute and clean and all that good stuff. If there's a storm door, make sure the glass is clean. If it's a patio, if it's a little like darkened, maybe you want to have somebody come pressure wash. And then lastly, are there columns or railings? Are they starting to split? Are they starting to fracture? Those kinds of things. Because if they are, maybe you want to put some energy and time into that. We'll come back to the outside in a little bit. So now we're going to go inside. I do 3 laps of the house with the client. First, we walk into the foyer, or maybe it's the living room, depending on the type of the house it is. I have them close their eyes and then open them. And I say, what's the first thing that jumps out at you? Well, it could be a really bright colored vase. It could be a weird piece of art, who knows? But if it's gonna catch their eyes, because they're acting like a buyer now, then it's probably gonna catch the buyer's eyes. And what I want them to do is take in the whole house, not just focus on one thing, because when they focus on one thing, they actually negate the rest of the house. As they walk through, we do that in every single room. And it's a really good experiment, and you get to put your 2 cents in, because if you know there's something sticking out, you bring it up and you're like, hey, I really think this is gonna be a deterrent. Now, we've done that through the whole house. We go back to the start and we do it again. But now we do it based on flow. I don't want to give the seller too many tasks at once because now they're not thinking through it clearly. I give them 1 parameters per pass. Now we go back into the living room. Can I easily walk through this house? Because you know what buyers are going to do. Foyer, living room, dining room, kitchen, master bath, bedrooms, hall bath, back to the back. We know that's just the flow they're going to do. So can they easily do that? Or is it like a hopscotch and they're having to walk around ottomans and big coffee tables and oversized whatever, beanbag chairs? Like if they're doing that, we need to remove those obstacles. Now, here's what I also tell sellers. If that lazy boy is exactly where you want it to be, because that is your lazy boy and you love it and you can't live without it being right there, leave it. But if it can be moved to open the room up, to allow the flow to be a little better, let's do that as well. When we get to the kitchen, this is when we look at flow, but we look at flow in terms of countertop flow. Because some kitchens are small, some are large, that's fine, but people pay attention to kitchens. So do we need everything that is on this counter? Do we need all of the magnets on the fridge? No, we do not. So if I tell the clients, if that bread maker, you use it once every 6 months, let's go ahead and hide it down in the cabinets or put it in the closet. But if that coffee maker you use every day, feel free to leave it out. So as we're talking about countertops, there's everyday tools that clients need to use to live by. So I like to give them this hack. I call them oh shit baskets, especially if they have kids. I tell them to get 3 oh shit baskets, and they're just laundry baskets that they can leave in the playroom, the living room, whatever it is. And when they have a showing, everything goes in that basket that's usually not out, and you put it in the car or you put it in the closet because it's like, oh shit, I got a showing. The same thing can happen with kitchens. Go in there and get smaller baskets. That's where the soaps and the sponges and the rags and all that stuff goes, so you can put it underneath the cabinets. So by having these baskets, you can quickly put away the little knickknacks that will draw the eye, but the seller needs to use them every single day. Same goes with the bathrooms. Shampoos, toothpaste, toothbrushes, that stuff in the basket under the sink. So as we've done this, we've walked through the house. Now this is our second pass. We've looked at it in terms of things that are standing out. Second one is we're looking in terms of flow and clutter. Third one, I want them to see what the photos are gonna look like. So now we go back and I have them kneel down in the doorways. When I take photos, and most photographers that are good, they squat down. You want to be about 1/3 of the height of the room. So when you're 1/3 of the height of the room, wide angle lens, it's pretty much dead on like you were at eye level. So if you're squatting down, you can see things that you haven't seen before. You see the dust on the hardwoods underneath the credenza holding the TV. You see the baseboards under the kitchen cabinets that are all nicked up to hell and they look like crap. You also see under beds. This is where I spend a lot of my time. You bend down, you take a photo, and you're gonna see all the shit that they have hidden under the beds. You're gonna see the box spring with no cover on it, and it's just gonna look bad. So now I do this so I know the photos are going to look right. I ask them to get a bed skirt or hide the stuff underneath it, whatever it might be, so I know the photos are going to look good when the photographer comes if you're hiring it out. And then I spend a lot of time in the master bedroom. This is kind of like their sanctuary. They know this is where they're going to spend a lot of their time, and this is where their private area is, and they want it to look good. But sellers also have to live there currently to do that. Take all chargers and hide them. A lot of people use CPAP machines. You gotta hide that stuff. Obviously, don't leave out any intimate objects. I see that quite often. Put those away. And lastly, some people like some more photography that exposes more of the body than others, and I see that a lot of the people that actually live in the house. So make sure if there's any nude photos and stuff like that, that those are coming down and those are not going to be a distraction when it comes to the buyer walking through the house. Yes, we want them to view the houses that are going to live there. No, I don't want our seller to depersonalize it so much it feels like a hospital. I think there's a happy medium. I'm not on the train of every personal photo has to come down. I don't think that's as big of a deal. Now, if there's a million of them, probably. I am a big advocate of taking everything off the fridge. I don't like that. It just bothers me. So let's kick it outside. Go back to the front yard. Let's look at curb appeal. What can we do just to keep it spiced up? If the house is vinyl or if it's a light color, I think a good pressure washing or a Mr. Clean spray that kind of takes all the grime off, super helpful. It just kind of lets things sparkle, especially if it's springtime. You get a lot of mildew and mold on the gutters, like really get that stuff looking right. Pressure washing always helps. Don't always have time to do it, don't always have the money to do it, I understand. But if the driveway is dark and dingy, I would say let's go ahead and get that thing cleaned up. And then my favorite's pine straw. If you do pine straw, it's gonna look nice and fluffy, it's gonna look fresh, it's gonna look clean. I don't care about flowers personally. Now other people may disagree, you do you. And then always ask the seller to keep the grass cut. Remember, the photos that we show need to look like the photos when they show up. So one of the first things they do is gonna drive by, and I want that to match the photo they already saw. When it comes to the backyard, I'm indifferent on this. If you can organize it and put the grill with a cover on it, and if you got kids' toys, just kind of keep them in the same general vicinity, but it is what it is. By the time they get to the backyard, they've been through the entire house. They know if they want to live here or not. They know they're going to get to control their backyard. And if there's dog runs in the middle of the grass, like those are probably going to go away if they don't have a dog. Like typically I find buyers don't care. Of course, keeping it trimmed, keeping dog poop picked up, nothing ruins a showing like stepping on a landmine and trying to figure that out. And then lastly, it comes to garages and closets. I don't care about garages and closets. I don't think most buyers care about garages and closets. They want to be able to see them. They want to be able to get in them. But if that's where our client needs to store a lot of this stuff, most buyers know that shit's going anyways, and that closet and that garage is going to be cleaned out. The only catch is the master closet. When it comes to the master closet, I usually take a photo of it, but I don't spend a lot of time, and I usually don't put it out on the MLS. I just have it in case a buyer asks, hey, do you have a photo of it? And I can show it to them. Oftentimes, these are messy, unorganized. I don't really care. But if it is a walk-in closet, the buyer needs to be able to walk into it. But if it's not a walk-in closet, just make sure stuff doesn't fall out on them. So hopefully these 3 circles around the house are gonna give you the knowledge, to give your seller the knowledge, to put your house in the best possible light, so therefore the photography can be taken and the buyers start selecting your house over others, and this should shorten your days on market. And if you're using anything other than a professional photographer, if you're not one, you should stop. That's not helping, that's actually hurting, and you're not gonna help your seller sell their house any faster. You're only gonna save a little bit of money in your pocket, but I'd argue you're actually costing yourself more.